Hello, my name is Prajwal BR. I have Harish with me on the panel today to interview our guest, an entrepreneur who has a startup whose name is Mr. N. Samarth. He has a startup named Atidvaya Institute of Learning. We are really happy, sir, to have you today as our guest. We are really glad to interview you. I let Harish.
Thank you so much, Prajwal.
Yeah, I let Harish to introduce our guest.
Okay, hello, sir.
Hello.
Okay. Mr. N. Samarth is a graduate from Christ University. He took part in the student exchange program, which was conducted by the Haan University of Applied Science, Amsterdam, Netherlands. This program offered an opportunity to extensively enhance his knowledge in the areas of international marketing, finance, and international entrepreneurship. He has a work experience in 2 companies. Samarth is a Yakshagana as well as Kathak practitioner and artist. His journey in this field started when he was in his 4th grade, and since then he has given numerous shows at state level. Mr. N. Samarth is a theatre artist as well as a theatre manager. Moving forward, talking about his brainchild, Atidvaya Institute of Learning. It started on 17 July 2021. I would like to ask Mr. N. Samarth to introduce us to his startup. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much, Prajwal and Harish, for that introduction. So I would like to just jump off to introducing my startup. Atidvaya Institute of Learning, as you said, we had started it on 17 June, but this idea I got it in January 2021, wherein we provide completely personalized tuitions. Personalized as in not only with the ratio of 1:1. In any circumstance or in any situation, we won't mix 2 or 3 students for the same tutor. So there'll be one tutor who will be handling one child or one student at all the time. So what this happens is when we engage a child individually, they won't have the hesitation, to mingle or ask doubts with to the tutor. So if in Bangalore or when you go to any metropolitan cities, you can see that all these tutorials, they have so many students, like a class of 100 people or more than 150 people. And again, it is same like a school. It doesn't give any different experience. Only the tutors may be a bit more engaging, even though it is of no use, I feel. So they can't even grab the attention of the students, and it will be like the same as what they attend in the school. The classes will be the same as how they do in the schools. And again, talking about personalization, we conduct tuitions in flexible hours. Okay, whenever the student and the teacher are free, they can have the tutorials and tuitions, and I don't have any restrictions on that. But we make sure that certain number of hours are engaged in a week. That restriction is given so that there is no reduction in the standard or the quality of their learning. Okay. And we don't force any student or the parent to learn the whole subject. Okay. We ask them to select which lesson the child is feeling difficult. So if you ask a 10th standard kid, he will tell that mathematics, trigonometry is very difficult for him because it's a very new topic, right? So we will teach him only that lesson, and the other lessons he can manage by his own. So where this comes into help is there are so many students among 100 students. A minimum of 40 to 50 students will be engaged in different co-curricular activities. Okay, and academics is not the only place where they are involved in. So they won't be able to give much attention or channelize much of their time to studies or their academics. They will be engaged in sports, for example. Even if you take my example, I was into Yakshagana and theatre. I had practice from every day. So my practice would go until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the night, and I couldn't study. I couldn't study much. So I required such tuitions wherein we had flexible timings. Even the tutors could, mingle with us and see what time is feasible for both of us to learn. And by choosing which lesson you want to learn, you can save your time and you can also save your money, rather than paying thousands of rupees every month to a tuition which is very commercialized. So just learning what you want from us, I think that is the USP for Aditya instead of learning. And yeah, you can go ahead.
Awesome. So there are a lot of counterparts to the normal orthodox tutorials outside in the industry out there. So there are a lot of counterparts.
Yes.
Whatever is required is what is being given in your institution, right? There's a lot of money-saving techniques used. There are a lot of time-saving techniques used, and especially one-to-one teaching is an amazing, characteristic that is there in your institution. So amazing, sir. Thank you so much for the introduction. So moving forward, where did this idea come up? Where did it exactly start to be an entrepreneur in the first place? And the Atidvaya idea, where did it exactly start?
Okay. First, I'll talk about the entrepreneurial journey and then come back to Atidvaya. So, from 9th standard or 10th standard, I realized that I'm not the person who just, goes to some job and works 9 to 5 and does the same job that everyone does. So I couldn't settle for anything less or settle for anything which is very much common. So even Yakshagana, if you look at Bangaloreans, they're not much involved in practicing Yakshagana, but I took up that. So even drama, since our family is not from the theatre background, I was the first person to enter this field. So I got to know that I'm the person who does everything differently. So and even I can implement this in my career. So I thought being an entrepreneur will help me in being different. Plus, teaching is my passion since 2nd standard, and I didn't want to let go of it at any circumstance. I started teaching from around 2nd PU, wherein I had students coming to my home, and even I would handle even online classes. Okay. One fine day during COVID, what happened is a student calls me. A 10th standard student calls me requesting to teach her trigonometry. Okay, because for all the other subjects for all the other lessons and other subjects she was going to a different tuition, and yet she couldn't understand this. So I started teaching her. Then I got to know that many students have this requirement, wherein even if they are attending different tutorials, they won't be very much thorough about the idea, or they won't be comfortable with the lessons. So I thought some students like this would require tuitions of personalization. That's why we started. And now, since in this era, since everything is being demanded personalized, even your gifts or even your messages or anything would be personalized, I thought, why not give it a shot in the educational sector also? That's why Atidvaya.
Awesome.
Yeah, and adding on, I always tell this, if you have seen the logo, we have the tagline called Knowledge X Education, right? Knowledge X Education. So, Knowledge X Passion. What I say is, every student or every child has passion inside their heart, but we need the tutors or any teacher who can trigger that. So Atidvaya always does that. We make sure that their interest on the subject builds up. Plus, they start liking the subject and connecting more with it, and applying it in their daily lives, so that writing the exam won't be a very difficult task for them. It will just be a cakewalk. That's how we teach them.
Right.
So while you started this, what were the struggles, or like you had to come against many odds situations to come up with this? What were the struggles you faced while starting this, sir?
Yeah. Okay. So talking about the struggles, first of all, was collecting the market data. I spoke to so many of the parents and some of my friends who had a bit of knowledge about how the tutorials fields work, and they the main point which they highlighted is there are so many giant educational technology companies. For example, I wouldn't like to quote any of these because you would have understood. So they would pose a huge risk, and even their pricing and their business model would be a risk for my firm. So many asked me not to start off with this because it was quite a risky thing, and that I wouldn't have much exposure to the market. But then I came up with a different business model apart from this and saw which points I can focus on to make sure Acharvaya becomes a success and then implement those. And so I needed around 6 months to start. And yeah, I also spoke to some of my friends in during the exchange program at Netherlands. So they also provided their insights on how tuitions work in their own countries. So I thought of implementing those strategies also here. Since it's 1 year, I couldn't do much, but yeah, hoping to.
Great, great, great. I also read something when you sent about your Atidvaya. I read that when there was a line saying we teach students according to the needs, maybe formally or informally. What do you exactly mean by that, sir?
Okay, talking about the first part, according to their needs, I told you the timings is according to their necessity, and even the lessons they can choose. Okay, and talking about the formal and informal ways, formal is what happens in the school, right? It is completely conventional. It is the traditional method where the teacher will be talking and the student will be listening, and sometimes they will ask the doubts. We will do that also. Since it's a one-on-one tuition, there is so much scope of personal interaction between them. Okay, so we have implemented something called as holistic education, which I again learned from Christ University, wherein the student can bring in their problems, or they can just talk to the tutor about what they're facing, if they're facing any issues. And I have trained the tutor such that they get personally connected to the student. And sometimes what happens is the main obstruction for a student to study or get more to understand any concept would be the problems they're facing in their personal life, or the problems which they're facing with the tutors or the teachers in their schools or colleges. Right. So I make sure that they personally get connected to the student. Plus, what we do is we conduct demo sessions in the starting of the regular classes. So once they are accustomed to the teacher, or if they find the teacher is very comfortable for them, then only we'll allow them. Otherwise, I will change the teacher and make sure that this old teacher will be trained to be a better one in the future. So from the beginning of the institute, right now we have like 25 teachers working. So everyone goes through this training, which I give personally to them. So through a call or meet them personally. So that's how we do the implementation of formal as well as informal training for teaching.
So along with the teaching, there'll be counseling sessions as well, right? So,
yeah, counseling as well, it will be in the classes. So I don't want to call it as an exclusive counseling session. Just during the class, they will get connected. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what were the marketing strategies, sir, which you came up in this huge educational field? Share a few.
Yeah. So marketing strategies, first of all, how I reached out to the students as well as the parents is first we need to look to the parents, because they are the ones who take decisions in the Indian family traditions, right? Parents are the ones who take the decision. So I first reached out to so many parents and my own connections, plus my relatives and my parents' connection, and they started telling about the institute to so many of their connections. So that's how we did. So I can just summarize this as it's a mouth to mouth which we use. That's how tuition actually, yeah, it's word of mouth. That's how tuitions in India work. Plus, we have an Instagram account. We also have. I'm also building a website plus Facebook. All these help you to build social connections. Plus, LinkedIn helped me to grow so professionally. These are the simple marketing strategies which we use. But yet, word of mouth is the best strategy.
Strongest strategy.
Yeah, because people trust others.
Right.
Others' opinions.
Right. Awesome, sir. Sir, where do you see yourself and your company or startup, right, in few years from now, in this competitive environment? Where do you position yourself or your startup?
Okay, so I feel that what I personally felt from the experience which I had from 1 year is, even though there is so much of competition in the field, I don't want to make education into a business. So I don't want business from the institute. I just want more students to be catered, and I want them to be benefited from from the service which we are providing. So, in the next 5 to 10 years, I would see the institute as a community of so many passionate teachers who are working to in educational field, not just to make money, but again to they should have the zeal to teach, and they should know the beauty and the satisfaction which anyone feels while teaching. Right now, all the members in Adsitvaya are the same.
Right.
So they have joined here to build a community of those kind of teachers. Plus, I would rather see the institute building with thousands of students.
Okay.
Plus other future plans which I don't want to disclose right now.
Yeah, right. Another follow-up question from my side.
Sure.
Do you see any changes in the educational field? Probably, if I have to quote an example, probably 3-4 years back, when people say tutorials, I used to go to the tutorial where people used to sit inside the classroom. There was a teacher, board, and all. I mean, it used to happen physically, right?
Yeah.
Everybody were present in the class. But do you see any changes from the conventional method which which was in practice before? Now everything is happening online. One-to-one can happen online, or group classes can happen online, right? So do you see changes?
Yeah.
And is Adsitvaya, capable to adapt to changes that may come in future?
Yes, actually, even the flexible model which we have adopted, makes us to, come through the problem which you said. That in the conventional classes, there will be so many students and one teacher who will be teaching with a whiteboard. But from first, our model is only online because it provides us with a lot of flexibility right now. For example, we have a student who is from UAE, and since they have this syllabus same as what is provided by CBSE and CRT, they chose us. And I can't send my teachers from India to UAE just to take 1 hour or 2 hour classes, right? So this is the online flexibility being built, and even the students, their focus on their concentration during the classes was very low, right? Because in the conventional classes, you will have people right next to you, and you can chit chat with them or do some activities. And during online classes, when there is any group class or a class of 100 people happening, the teacher can't observe each and everything, right? So they will just do complete the portions and move. move out. So that's why I think one-on-one it helps you to concentrate because they'll have at least that view that the person who's in front of me is observing me, and they'll make sure that the notes are up to date, and with the tests which we give, they do it promptly. So I think rather than a group tutorials, this will help them understand the concepts clearly, plus score well. And even we force the students not to think much or not to focus much on their marks, right? Because the whole purpose of education is to implement it whenever it's needed, and the practicalities in the subject which in the subjects which they're learning are what focused upon.
Awesome.
And this wasn't present 3 to 4 years before. They would just come, teach the sums or teach the concept and go. But when we tell them where they can use it actually, I think that is a good idea.
Right.
And it makes sense for them also. They should not feel like their time is being wasted the whole time. Because even you would have personally asked this, oh, why should I even learn trigonometry? Oh, or why calculus, etc. No, why we learn that is to improve your mental ability. Rather, no.
So
Harish, you
post-COVID,
are about to.
post-COVID, what were the
Mhm.
difficulties faced, sir?
Post-COVID, we got many queries from the parents to conduct offline classes, which I was fine with because until it is one-on-one tuition, it is fine. But I make sure that in Aditya, no home tutoring is done. Home tutoring is as in the teacher goes to the student's place to teach them. I completely am against that concept because of few philosophies which I follow. So when I asked the parents to send their student or their ward to the teacher's place, they were a bit reluctant. That's why I would just convince them to take online classes and just taking the demo would be very helpful in reaching out. That's the main problem which I faced. And since school started working offline, the students used to be very tired by the time they came back from school. I think they would lose their attention or focus. So what we did is we are now doing more classes on Saturdays and Sundays when they have holidays. Even they are convinced with that because in the weekdays they'll have more fun, and then on in weekend they'll have fun plus take the classes. I think that works for them, so they won't lose the flow of even their lessons, not lose the fun time with their families. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you have any questions, Harish?
Yes, sir. Last question, sir. While starting, your main contribution for the society was teaching the children.
Yes. Teaching the children and building a completely new perspective in the minds of the parents about education. Education is not marks. Education is not your degree. Education is not your certificates. But education is what your child has understood and what he can implement to make himself an asset and help you in your when you are old. So that's what I feel.
Right.
And that's what even my parents have taught me, which I feel can be passed on to others also.
Great.
Yeah. So any other questions, Rajvin?
Awesome. I think we are done with the questions. Harish, if you have any questions, you can ask. If there are none. Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir. I think there were a lot of takeaways from this interview. I'm really
Thank you so much.
In fact, we both are really happy that you gave us this opportunity to interview you.
Not a problem.
Thank you so much for the time.
Yes.
Thank you.
I keep inspiring people like this, sir. Thank you. With many
Awesome.
more ideas. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.